Greetings and welcome to the Wealth for Real YouTube channel. I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio. It is Friday evening, December 8th, 2023. Hope everybody's having a great holiday season and a great evening. This video is going to be about a paper that Nassim Taleb and some other individuals wrote back in 2014 about the precautionary principle. Sorry about that. And this is a paper that has obviously been out there for almost 10 years now. I was kind of, I think, vaguely aware of it for a while, kind of in and out of forgetfulness about it. And then I was reading, or still am reading, a book called Chaos Kings by Scott Patterson, Wall Street Journal. I've been actually posting a lot about him and that book on other platforms, or also here on YouTube. And just my sincere enjoyment of that book, which focuses on Taleb and his right-hand guy, Mark Spitznagel at Universa, as well as Didier Sornet, the Dragon King guy. So I've been talking a lot about that book, been really enjoying that book. That book has resurfaced in my consciousness, the precautionary principle, and the paper that Taleb wrote. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to switch over to the PDF viewer of the paper, so you're going to kind of lose me here in the bottom of the screen. No big loss there. But what I want to do is I want to bring the paper on the screen, and I'm not going to go through it in much. First of all, I haven't read it. Okay, I've just seen some excerpts from it, some conceptualization of what's in it. I kind of sort of know the backstory behind it, which I'll talk about in a second. I need to read the paper, and then I will probably make at least one, if not a series of videos where I go into some detail about what I see in it. But I wanted to make this video just to kind of throw it against the wall and let you guys know it's out there. Take a look at it. If you're a fan of Taleb, if you're a fan of the whole tail risk hedging, the whole thing, the whole infosphere about that, you probably want to read this paper. You probably want to read Chaos Kings by Scott Patterson. But so that's why I want to just kind of get this out there and get you guys feedback on it, kind of make you have some awareness of it. And to be honest with you guys, as far as I know, maybe there's more to it than this. Maybe this is not perfectly 100% characterized. The paper was written about, it sort of stemmed from, at least from Taleb's perspective, a feeling of uneasiness about GMOs, genetically modified organisms, particularly as it pertained to food, like genetically modified food that was being used to, I guess, and again, I'm doing some inferences here, guys, but to create more volume of food, to feed more people, just sort of genetically modifying the food so it survives different blights or crop infestations or things like that. Just, allowing farmers to not lose crops, to not, for these big industrial food providers like Monsanto, to not have whole batches of food be lost to different, environmental or natural disaster type events. And things like that. And I think there was something, I forget what it was, but there was something that triggered Taleb's application of the precautionary principle to Monsanto and GMOs, but it ultimately manifested with this paper. And so let me bring up the paper for you guys here. Well, let's do this, guys. Let's just define the precautionary principle. Principle, the introduction of a new product or process whose ultimate effects are disputed or unknown should be resisted. It has mainly been used to prohibit the importation of genetically modified organisms in food. Okay, so you kind of see that. And if we go to just the Wikipedia page, just for fun, broad epistemological, I don't say that word, guys, philosophical and legal approach to innovations with potential for causing harm when extensive scientific knowledge on the matter is lacking. Emphasizes caution, pausing, and review before leaping into new innovations that may prove disastrous. So, you guys can think of a million things this applies to now, especially with the whole AI push and stuff like that. But, so this is kind of the definition, but let's switch over to the paper here. And you can see it right here, guys. You get the date on it, 17 October 2014, precautionary principle with application to genetic modification of organisms. And there's Taleb right there in the upper left. And this was, I think, if I recall correctly, from Chaos Kings. This guy, Rupert Reed, was the guy who kind of catalyzed Taleb towards this issue about genetic modification of organisms. I think Rupert Reed is a pretty big environmentalist. Let's just go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to put him in real quick. And let's see if we have his. Yeah, there we go. Rupert Reed, academic Green Party campaigner, former spokesman for Extinction Rebellion, and current director of the Climate Majority Project. So he was the guy that I think spurred Taleb to write or to be a co-author on the Precautionary Principle with Application to GMOs paper. So again, I'm not going to go through this in much detail, guys. I wanted to show you the paper. You know what to look for. If you Google it, it's going to come up on a site called, I guess it's sort of pronounced Archive, ARXIV, and you can download the PDF from there. You just see it right here. It's what it looks like. But what I wanted to show you guys that jumped out in Chaos Kings, it was talked about a lot in Chaos Kings, and of course it's featured here in this paper, is this section here about why ruin is serious business, when the precautionary principle is necessary. And this kind of section really kind of goes to the heart of where I think a lot of Taleb's work on tail risk hedging and how to become, resistant to it or anti-fragile to it, where all that kind of flows from. And it's this idea of ruin problems, the fear of, finding oneself or humanity's self inside of a ruin problem. Okay. And you see what we have here where they talk about it. Purpose of PP, precautionary principle, avoid a certain class of what is called ruin problems. Ruin problems is when where outcomes of risk have a non-zero probability of resulting in unrecoverable losses. Off-cited illustrative case is that of a gambler who loses his entire fortune and cannot return to the game. In biology, an example would be a species that has gone extinct. For nature, ruin is ecocide, an irreversible termination of life at some scale, which could be planet-wide. Large majority of variations that occur within a system, even drastic ones, fundamentally differ from ruin problems. A system that achieves ruin cannot recover. Our concerns with public policy. Well, an individual may be advised to not bet the farm. Whether or not he does so is generally a matter of individual preferences, but policymakers have a responsibility to avoid catastrophic harm for society as a whole. Precautionary considerations are relevant much more broadly than to ruin problems. Precautionary case against cigarettes long before there was an open and shut evidence-based case against them. Our point is that the PP is a decisive consideration for ruin problems, while in a broader context, precaution is not decisive and can be balanced against other considerations. So this kind of goes, I think, to the heart of it, guys. The idea of what problem is the precautionary principle solving, or what is it sort of aimed at in this regard, and where does Taleb focus on it both in this paper and in his other works that he's even better known for. I don't think he's nearly well known for this as he is. I'm certain of that. He's not nearly as well known for this as he is for, let's say, The Black Swan or Anti-Fragile or Skin in the Game or any of those books that he wrote. So anyway, guys, I wanted to bring this to your attention. I wanted to just kind of briefly touch on it, and kind of, if you didn't know about it already or didn't see anything about it before, just wanted you guys to kind of see what this principle is about, what the definition was, the connection to Taleb and the paper and all that. I definitely, like I said, want to read this paper. We'll get back to you guys about, about my, my interpretation or my sense of the paper, and my observations from it. But this is something that, just sitting here right now making this video with you guys, I can think of 3 big issues that pertain directly to it that are kind of on my radar screen. Number 1, mundanely speaking, issues with the stock market, survival in the stock market, protecting against ruin in the stock market, insuring against it, that sort of thing. Number 2, AI and our surge towards using AI and the precautionary principle, what it would probably say about that. And then lastly, in the environment and the factors that bear on, are we headed for environmental disaster sooner or later, but most likely inevitably, and how does the precautionary principle teach us about that problem? So anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this. If you're familiar with it, if you've read the paper, what your thoughts are, drop a comment, or a question. I would love to see that. In the meantime, if you guys don't have a chance to comment or question, if you can like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, would be greatly appreciative of that. And as always, just thanks for watching this video and tuning in, guys. Again, more to follow on the paper, Taleb, precautionary principle, that sort of thing, but wanted to get you guys this intro tonight to start thinking about it. So thanks again, guys. Hope everybody has a great night and a great weekend. Bye-bye.